Hello and welcome to another episode of Cardinal Film Fights. I'm your wonderful and lovely host, Stephen Mason, and I'm also your lovely and wonderful host and judge, Stephen Mason. I am judge, jury, executioner, exemptor, magister, and a few other things, starting with Welcome to Cardinal Film Fights. If you don't know the format, I don't blame you, neither do I, but I do, right up here. For the first minute, the participants right here, these lovely folks, will have an opinion. What kind of opinion? An opinion on animation, but not just any kind of animation. Watch and find out. They will have an opinion for 1 minute. They'll give it, they'll make their opening statements, and for the next 5 minutes, they'll have an open forum to decide which opinion is the best and which opinion is the worst, and which opinion is second. That's there, by the way, but no one cares about it. And then, for the next 30 seconds, they will have 30 seconds to decide what their argument really meant in their wrap-up, their conclusion, their finale. And then I'll decide with my gracious judging skills who's the best and who's the worst and who's second, but nobody really cares about that either. And we'll have a gay old time, but gay in the traditional sense, not in the... Anyway, for the people who don't know who you are, give your name, your major, your year, and a word to describe yourself. Start with James.
I'm James Ong. I'm a third-year animation student, and if I had a word to describe myself, it would be splorescent.
Is that an actual word?
I don't know, but it sounds nice.
I like it.
Thank
It
you.
really suits you. Splorescent. It really rolls off the tongue. All right, next.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Holbrook. I'm a sophomore animation major, and if I were a word, I would be weird.
I bet you would. You know, it's kind of rude to say next, but hey, it's my life. Next.
You could say mixed.
Leave.
My name is Nick Evans. I'm a junior telecommunications major, president and director of Cardinal Film Fights, and if I had to choose a word, it would be seeking, like the Seekers in Transformers. They're always looking for things. That's why they're called Seekers.
You're like a missile. Just
Well, they're more like jets.
not you. They're not the thing. You.
Oh.
It's like always looking for things. Anyway, before our entire audience leaves, cartoons are great, and the 90s were great. And so, what cartoon was the best from the 90s? Kimberly, what do you think?
I believe the best cartoon from the 90s is Rugrats, because not only was it able to teach kids powerful lessons, it was also able to keep adults engaged with a lot of humorous clicks in the background. And sometimes a lot of cartoons feel the need to be overly violent, overly funny, and in that way you lose a lot of the audience you could have kept by being more engaging to your audience regardless of age. It was able to keep toddlers entertained as well as 50 years and up adults. And because of that, its broad range of interest makes it one of the most powerful from the 90s, way ahead of its time.
Really makes you think. All right, James, what do you got for us?
Well, I went with Rocko's Modern Life, which was one of the first major Nickelodeon cartoons. It was probably the shortest lived, I think, but it just had an overall just unique tone to it that I don't think any other show at the time had. It was dark. It was just kind of adultish in humor. I remember there being a joke about a sex line in it. But it just had this overall unique, tangible essence to it that just made you want to watch more, and it made life not seem as bleak. It just kind of lifted your spirits with the most depressing subject matter I can think of.
Wholesome, quality family entertainment from Rocko's Modern Life. A real treat, I imagine. And Nick, you.
Yes, me. It has a 7.9 rating on IMDb, an 8.8 on TV.com. It had a spin-off show. It had Bernadette Peters in its cast, memorable songs, too many adult jokes to name. It won a freaking Peabody, 8 daytime Emmys. Its parodies are well known, a direct-to-video movie. It's time for Animaniacs. They're zany to the max. Let's just kick back and relax. We'll laugh till we collapse. It's Animaniacs with the Warner Brothers and the Warner sister Dot. And they run around the Warner movie lot. And honestly, I'm just enjoying this, so I kind of want to keep going. But regardless, Animaniacs started off in 1993 as Rugrats was just about ready to come back from its hiatus after being canceled by Nickelodeon. And honestly, Animaniacs has more memorable adult jokes than either of your guys's. There's the whole thing about fingerprints and it I don't think there's ever been a more like subtle adult joke that's like that easily recognizable.
Fingerprints, everybody. You'll have to expound on that when you get in. Yeah, before the censors get us. All right, go.
So Animaniacs, my problem with Rugrats is that it's not that Rugrats is a bad show. My problem with Rugrats is that it's just when you're comparing, you bring up a lot of the same things that Animaniacs does, and Animaniacs does it better. And the thing is that Animaniacs is a show that was never afraid to like make fun of itself, to make fun of like the silliness of like teaching a moral.
I don't think it actually. But see, I don't think it actually needed that. You can have quality entertainment without the need to budge through every blockade that was built around you. Sometimes you have to work within the blockades, and in that case, they made something wholesome that was also enjoyable. You don't need to break down walls in order to have a good program.
Animaniacs is just as wholesome.
No, they pushed things to where it wasn't funny for some viewers. Other viewers thought it was great, but it's not exactly something that all ages can enjoy. You can show it to kids, but in some cases you will get parents coming at the side of saying, you shouldn't be watching this because of all these jokes. Rugrats, on the other hand, was able to.
Because Animaniacs has objectively a larger adult following than it did a kids following. And the other thing, too, with Animaniacs is that it does teach kids. I mean, they had the two songs I can think of off the top of my head are the state song and the president song. And while the president song is a little dated because their last president was Bill Clinton, like I remember in elementary school when I was learning the states and capitals in elementary school, like my teachers had us sing the state song from Animaniacs to teach us the states and the capitals. But
when you only have two lessons compared to its
But I've only named two out of a 3-year, 5-year run, and that's only because I can't think of any more right off the top of my head.
And you said Animaniacs is a large adult following, and I think that's part of the problem with its legacy. Yes, it has a large adult following, but it also had a large number of pop culture references I don't think kids are going to get, because it's been about 20, 30 years since the Animaniacs was running. Rocko's Modern Life relies a lot on situational humor, just the idea of this Rocco's this miserable kind of person who goes through like all these maladies, and it's just about the humor that comes from that and just the situation that follows.
But when we're talking about, you bring up legacy, we're talking about the legacy of the 90s cartoons. When you compare the three shows, Rugrats and Animaniacs are still very fresh in the minds of not just the adults that watch it, but also the kids that did grow up watching Animaniacs. The thing with Rocko is that it had such a short life, and it got very quickly overshadowed by Rugrats, Hey Arnold, and SpongeBob, and these other Nickelodeon shows that kind of bulldozed over Rocko. And I'm not saying Rocko's a bad show. My problem is that Rocko quickly became forgotten. I mean, I don't see it rerun too many times on Nicktoons anymore. I don't remember seeing it rerun too many times on Nicktoons when I was a kid.
Yes, it had a short episode.
And it's getting rebooted, thankfully, but it's just like...
But see, the other argument with Rugrats is that even Steven Spielberg, who worked on Animaniacs, was the director of it, executive producer, I guess you would say.
Steven Spielberg was the executive producer of Animaniacs. I mean, I don't see what your point is.
Yes, but he came in and actually referred to the Rugrats as one of the most outstanding cartoons of the time while he was producing Animaniacs.
And when the suits at Fox News tried to take down Animaniacs and tell them to go more in the direction of Rugrats, Steven Spielberg stepped in and was like, no.
Which is where my argument comes in again and says that you can work within your boundaries without needing to push against authority. That's teaching people to rebel, and in that case, it's also teaching bad life lessons.
What is it? The little song from Journey into Imagination at Disney? Sometimes it just takes a little spark. of
You
imagination.
can spark something within
be
the
a
bounds
bit
of reality.
zanier. I
You
mean,
can
the
be
thing-
zany without breaking the
The
rules.
thing with Rugrats too is that its legacy is it's a good show, and then it's followed up by 3 shitty sequel series. Animaniacs ends with it. It ends where it needs to end, and it's still fondly remembered as a great show. The thing with Rugrats now is that you look back on it and you're like, oh yeah, that was a great show. And then there were all those goddamn
I wouldn't even
sequels.
give it the credit of saying it was a good show. The first few seasons were good, then it started to drop off.
The reason why Rugrats is so popular in the modern mind is because it got the It's a Wonderful Life treatment. It got canned in 1993, and then it got rerun every single day.
But
by
then they
Nickelodeon
came back in
because it got-
'97
because it had
and
the-
recreated
Yeah.
more episodes.
But because it had the It's a Wonderful Life treatment. Everybody in society thinks It's a Wonderful Life is a great movie because
well, you
it's
could
been
say the
drilled
same
into our
about
heads.
Animaniacs.
No, Animaniacs never got canned. It had its whole run.
That
It never
doesn't mean it was a
canceled
great
mid-season.
run, though.
It was a fantastic
Some great
run.
shows
Look at
get
the
canned.
ratings.
Lots of opinions flying around. I don't know how I'm gonna score this, but I will. Nick, you're rolling, you're rocking. Keep on going.
Rock and roll, baby. So Animaniacs is the quintessential 90s show. I mean, it has so many memorable songs. Its characters are memorable. It's honestly a great love letter to the Warner Brothers animation studios. I mean, not since Looney Tunes have the Warner Brothers had such a powerhouse property as Animaniacs. And it's such a great love letter to the old variety of Looney Tunes with different songs and stories. And it's getting rebooted. So, I mean, there's obviously a demand for new Animaniacs.
Impressive. A lot of
Zany
good points.
To the max.
Please stop.
No.
Please.
Okay.
Thank you. Kimberly, what do you got with Rugrats?
Rugrats is the best 90s cartoon because it encapsulates what everybody went through, a childhood, no matter what kind of childhood it was. And because of that, we can all relate to it even as adults because we can look back on these characters and think, we grew up with them. And because of that, I feel like there's a timeless quality to them that isn't seen in anything else, such as my competitors have argued.
A fair point. It's not foul. It's fair. I don't know where I'm going with that joke.
Bird joke?
Somewhere beyond the
Body
rainbow.
once told me.
Before I run myself off a cliff, James, please take it away. Please.
Rocko's Modern Life is the best 90s cartoon because it encapsulates what everyone goes through, daily living. It goes through an experience, the bad and good of it, and they try and make the best of it. Rocko's Modern Life only lasted 52 episodes, but that's okay because it ended on a good note. It was still fresh. It was still good. Rugrats, in my opinion, stagnated towards the end, and we got to see these cute little babies turn into the natural progression, acne-ridden, horrible teenagers.
All grown up with you.
I once made a joke about people watching real life on an earlier debate, but I'm not going to make that same joke again because it is in poor taste, and that was in my angry phase.
No.
Touche.
Okay, fact checker. Any facts to check?
Just the angry phase thing. That is false.
Angry face. Why do we even have this guy?
Oh, you elected me.
Yeah, that's true. No, I was talking about the fact checker.
Oh.
He does nothing. You do nothing except check facts.
False. The fact checker does very good things.
He's also our vice president.
Oh, I guess I was wrong about that. Okay, back to the judging. All right.
You got a tough one here.
Yeah, there were quite a few points. I'm gonna say third place belongs to Rocko's Modern Life. The daily living is and like the constant depression and like getting beaten down by daily life. That's relevant today. I know a lot of people like experience that, but they make the best of it. Mm-hmm. But that was what you really hinged your argument on, and while that's a good point and relevant point, it's not exactly enough to get out of third place. So you've got third for Rocko's Modern Life. And for second, this is a close one. I'm going to have to flip a coin in my mind. Oh, man. Wow. Did not expect that one. Second place goes to Animaniacs. While it was really impressive during its time, and it had surprisingly amount of educational content with the state song. I would have guessed that. Kimberly did point out that it was a bit dated, and 20 years ago, a lot of the pop culture references were fresh, they were modern, not as modern as Rocco's Modern Life, but you get what I'm saying. And it was really pushing boundaries, but if you look back on it today, those jokes really don't have the same punch that they had back 20 years ago. So, as the way goes, Kimberly, Rugrats is the winner. Number 1. You said that, well, Animaniacs was really good, and it had the fourth wall breaking humor sometimes that could push away an audience from really engaging in the characters, engaging in the lessons, from learning and thinking and things like that. And while Rugrats had a lot of wholesome content, it pulled in people from all ages, because everybody's had a childhood, good or bad. We've had one, except, if you didn't, which, how are you watching this? And, yeah, I thought you made a very good argument. So, to review, first was Kimberly with Rugrats, second, Nick with Animaniacs, and third, James with Rocco's Modern Life. So, for all of us here at Cardinal Film Bites, in front and behind the camera, we wish you a good night. Like, subscribe, comment, and watch our next videos when they come out. Please, we're desperate. And thank you. We're not really desperate. Don't tell anyone that.
Have a great rest of your lives.
We're great people. We're popular.
Your modern lives.
Yeah.
Rest of your lives. Great
Thank
ones.
you.
Make them great.
Bye. Have a beautiful time.
Don't just have a great night. Have a